Hey everyone, today I wanted to take a look at a new tuner from D'Addario for instruments like acoustic guitars and ukuleles. It's the NS Micro Soundhole tuner. Let's check it out. So if you play a stringed instrument, you're probably already familiar with the headstock tuners. These tuners clip onto the headstock and allow you to tune the instrument, and in general, they work really well. One drawback, though, is especially if you're on a crowded stage, they can get knocked off very easily. And if you play a really small instrument like a ukulele, they start to look out of place since the headstock tuner starts to get almost as big as your instrument. So the benefit of the new D'Addario tuner is that it fits inside your instrument's sound hole and it will be unobtrusive and won't look out of place. The box. So before we take a look at the tuner, I just wanted to show you the box that the tuner comes in. Again, this is the D'Addario NS Micro Soundhole tuner. And you can see a picture of the tuner inside the instrument. And it's touted for a multicolor display, non-marring sound hole clip, fast, accurate response. And note this, the calibration range on the box says it can be calibrated from 435 to 455 hertz. However, that is a mislabeling. The calibration range of the tuner is actually from 435 to 445 hertz. And you can see here an example on the back of the box. When the note is out of tune, it will display in red. When it's almost in tune, it will display in yellow. And when it's perfectly in tune, the note will display in green. And the tuner also has an automatic time off, so it automatically powers off in 10 minutes to save on battery life. The tuner. And this is the tuner. It's very, very small. So you can see how small it is right there. And it has a power button and a button over here where you can change the calibration. And you can see in the middle a display screen. Now, it's just flashing lights right now because we're not actually attached to the instrument, but I'll show you that in just a moment. So this is the front of the tuner. This is the back of the tuner. And you can see how the tuner clamps on into your instrument sound hole. It has a nice little kind of a foam padding on one side of this clip. And then on the bottom, it has a little kind of a metal spring that keeps it firmly attached to your instrument. And the tuner gets its power from a battery, which is included, and it's easily removable by just pressing on the little metal spring there, and you can easily take the battery out. I do want to point out, though, that that's one drawback of this tuner. Perhaps they designed it this way to save on weight and to keep the tuner small so it doesn't affect the acoustics of the instrument, but there is no battery cover. So as long as you are careful not to press this little spring, the battery will stay in place. But, because there's no battery cover, this really isn't a tuner that you would want to just put in your pocket because you could have the battery easily come out. In fact, when I took the tuner out of the box, the battery popped out in process. Okay, to insert the tuner into your instrument, you simply just thread it through the strings. Now I'm going to try to do this one-handed because I'm holding the instrument with one hand and I'm holding the tuner with the other hand, and we'll see if we can get that into the instrument. But just simply slides onto the instrument right there in the sound hole, and you can see the tuner is on. And you can kind of see the display right there, if you can kind of peek through the strings. So if I pluck a string, you can see that the note of that string. So there's a G, there's a C, there's an E, and there's an A. Okay, so now I'm just going to tune down the string. So let's see what happens if we're not in tune. And now you can see we're way flat there. So now we can start to tune it up. You can see the display is in red, and there are bars on one side of the note indicating on which side we have it tuned. And As we get closer and closer, there, now we're back in tune. And once you have everything in tune, you can either wait the 10 minutes and it will automatically power off, or you just reach down in through the strings there into the sound hole and the tuner will shut down after pressing the power button. And here's a look at the instrument with the tuner in place. You can see it's very unobtrusive. It does not look unprofessional having a big tuner hanging off your headstock. In conclusion, so really, that's all there is to it. You saw how easy it is to attach the tuner into your instrument sound hole. I did it with one hand. You'll probably want to use two hands. It does feel like you're going to drop that tuner down into your instrument, but if you're reasonably careful, it's very easy to attach. Now, I do want to point out one thing. The company says that this is a non-marring clip. In other words, it's not supposed to damage the finish of your instrument. That said, I probably would not leave this tuner attached to my instrument for long periods of time. There is a kind of a foam padding on one side of the clip, and the other side of the clip has like a little metal spring that holds the tuner into place. It's probably fine for temporary uses while you're actually playing your instrument, but once you're done playing, I would probably remove the tuner. Now that leads to the other kind of drawback of this tuner, in that the tuner does not have a battery cover. So once you do remove the tuner, you need to kind of put it into a safe place so that that battery won't get knocked off of or out of the tuner, because all it takes is one little touch on that clip holding the battery in place and the battery springs out. But other than those cautions, the tuner is very easy to use. It works really well. It's very responsive. It's easy to see the notes as you're tuning them. It has a multicolor display. It tells you whether you're sharp or flat. And once you're dead on, it's very easy to use from that respect. And best of all, you don't have this big honking tuner clamped onto your headstock. It's very unobtrusive, won't get knocked off, and it looks professional. So that's it for a look at the D'Addario NS Micro Sound Hole Tuner. I hope you found this review helpful. Thanks a lot, and I look forward to seeing you next time.
This is the tuner from D'Addario. This is how this tuner looks like. Looks a bit interesting, but when you place it inside the hole here, it doesn't throw up too much. So this is how it looks from the outside. You need to be careful because it might fall when you try to put it on. Put it like this, but once you've put it on, it stays, it doesn't move, which is great. Now you can move it whatever you feel like, and then when you want to turn it on, just press the button and tune it. So usually if it's too low, it will show you to the side. That's a bit too much. On, so now it's too low. It's two lines like this. it off. Press the button once and it turns down. Now to find it a bit, see, it moves, so I tend to put it somewhere where it stays close to that one, so when I press the button it doesn't move. See, otherwise here it kind of tends to almost come up out, so I try to put it to support it on that side, so when I press the button it doesn't move to one side on it. But yeah, the lights are quite visible, and then when you play the guitar it's not showing up too much, so far so good.
It immediately rocks off. Let's see if I can. Right here, if you try to turn it on, it immediately starts to come off. There's nothing to brace it. It's not braced where it should. It rocks on this here, so it immediately starts to fall off. It's not secure. It's not designed well.